Hey everyone, this is Matt Gunlock from the 3GIQ podcast. I'm here with my co-host Frank Gow, and tonight we're going to kind of do a different episode, something kind of new for us, but it's going to be kind of a year in review, a recap of, you know, different things that have occurred over the past year. We're going to be covering the podcast, us as shooters, and our upcoming match schedule as the new year begins. So, as you can tell, I'm here in my hotel room. I'm traveling in Nashville for work, and Frank is in his normal location at home.
Yep.
So, I guess kind of hit it. Podcast, we at the beginning of the year we kind of had a bit of a hiatus. It was still whenever I was doing this by myself. Alex Goking hit me up and was like, "Hey, I want to, do a couple. I'd love to do some episodes with you and kind of cover some things with the shooting team and NCR's coming and all that kind of stuff." So I was like, okay, let's do it. I didn't I never wanted to stop, but work and while I was at the FBI Academy kind of took over, and just different focuses in life at that point. And whenever Alex approached me, it was like, all right, let's start this. And then it kind of got into doing an episode with you, Frank. And then it was like, fuck it, I want you as a co host. And so you kind of became the co host, and we've kind of been putting content on a weekly basis. And it's kind of nice to share this and share the responsibility with somebody else, because this is a passion project all in and of itself that does consume a lot of time. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the other podcasts that are just single host, Dave Hartman hosts on his own, but Ben Barry also does his own thing. I like his podcast a lot, but he recently, I think they had a kid, and he's a shooter himself, and his wife's a section coordinator. So if you're a one man show and life, like you were about to get out of the Marine Corps, so it makes sense that there was a little bit of a hiatus. But what works in this particular format with you and me both co-hosting is that at any given time, like you and I can pick up the slack, whether it's writing questions or reaching out to people. I feel like that division of responsibilities has kind of helped.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it gave us an opportunity to hit different people up, like different people than what I do. And my focus, it's always been internal to the shooting team and internal to the Marine Corps. But reaching, I have a lot of people that I know that are in the civilian shooting community, and it really allowed us to talk to people on the outside in order to provide information for people in the Marine Corps. And then you still keep in contact, and I do too, but you reach out to a lot of people that are in the Marine Corps still, and get them on, and it kind of creates a couple different dynamics with how the podcast goes.
Yeah, I think in terms of episodes that we've done this year that have really stood out to me, the Duskin episode I think turned out really great. I like when we had Parker Tomasi on, like the
Mm-hmm.
first time we talked about, he had just gone distinguished, and he gave just very thorough and very well thought out answers. Obviously, getting JJ Rakaz on was big for us. Mike Pannone. I'm just going to end up going through the entire episode list. I think we put out a lot of really good content, but we've branched out so much, right? Like we've gotten a book author on it at one point, match directors, and it's not just Marines anymore. It's JJ Racaza is, as of this, he's a world champion now. So I think it just speaks to how much time and energy we put into it. It's still relevant to the military. It's still relevant to practical shooting. But with the weekly format, like sometimes, Matt and I have conversations, or like we're plotting out the upcoming month. And I don't know about you, Matt, but like I think as soon as we got into that rhythm, that became easier. Like
Oh yeah.
it just stuff started falling into our lap. And at this point, like we got a little running list of all the episodes we want to hit. And sorry if we reached out to you, we got a backlog. Like we have people that we want to get to eventually, but just with timing and schedules and everything, it's just it hasn't quite worked out yet.
It's like we're going to be talking to somebody on Christmas Eve, recording an episode on Christmas Eve, and it's one of those individuals that we've been trying
Oh
we've
yeah.
been trying to get them on, what I would say 6 to 8 months now.
Yeah,
Easily.
I wrote the questions like 6 months ago.
Yeah, and it was just timing never worked out, and so I did a reach back. I was like, "Hey, I would love to have you on if you're interested." And he hit back. He's like, "Oh, absolutely." And I was like, "What time works for you?" He's like, "I'm gonna be home over the long weekend over the holidays. If you want to do it then." So we were like, "You want to do it on Christmas Eve?" Oh yeah, that totally works. I was like, "Okay." And so and it it shows to the you know, I guess the best way of putting it is it shows the interest that people have with how they want to come on to our show. Um, but like we said, this is something that's a complete passion project. We do, we put a lot of time on the side away from our families doing this um, because we love it. And realistically, our families know how much we love it too, so they're willing to. It's a lot better us doing something like this and going out to the bars and drinking, I guess you can say.
Yeah, yeah, or into any other illicit substances. But
Well, I mean, I am in Nashville, so I do
yeah,
spend quite a bit on bourbon
yeah,
on
but
this trip.
I mean, your wife knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not the exact dollar amount. Um, yeah, I'd have to say another
Her
notable
Christmas
change.
presents.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Another notable change is the I guess the social media presence. Like the Instagram, I think is getting a lot of engagement. I don't know what black hole the Facebook page is existing in, but like it just the posts
Fuck
there don't.
fuck the Facebook algorithms,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's all right. They don't like us anyway. Same company's Instagram makes zero sense. We started up the YouTube channel for people that like to watch their podcasts. Um, so I'd say like all that has helped significantly, and we're constantly looking at other things that we can do to like get outreach and all that stuff. So
And one of the cool thing is like we know the different dynamics of different peoples that we're gonna bring on, and kind of going back to the episodes real quick. When we have Mike Pannone on, we know it's gonna be spicy, and we know people are gonna love it. And then the social media aspect of that too. It's like it kind of just jumps up, and it's pretty cool to see. I was looking last week; we were getting 100 listens a day, almost. Some days were a little bit lighter, but most of the time it was 100 listens a day, and I was like, holy shit, this is going well. It's starting. The fruits of our labor are starting to work out, and I'm excited for that.
yeah, no. So we are excited. We're just going to keep doing the same thing for this next year. You might see some changes. You might see some guests that are outside the norm, but it's still going to be Marine Corps related. It's still going to be practical shooting related. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the episodes that we're going to be putting out in 2023.
Yeah. So kind of moving on to us as shooters, as a year in review of everything that we've done and accomplished. Uh, for me, it's been kind of a light year compared to previous years. Um, I shot maybe two, maybe three major matches this year. Very light. And it was kind of by design. As we stated, I was getting out of the Marine Corps, looking for a new job, got a new job, and wasn't really focused on the competitive shooting aspect. But I would say I've had some pretty significant gains in the shooting department. Me and Andy Brown, we podiumed at the Tactical Games team event. That
Yeah,
was huge for us. I mean,
the week before your retirement too.
yeah, it was a week before my retirement, so it made it that much more special.
Yeah,
And it was the work that went into it. We were constantly communicating once, twice a week, just kind of, hey, I'm doing this workout today. What are you doing? Holding ourselves accountable from a distance. Then we get out there, and some things went really well, some things did not go so well, i.e., the cardio shit. But at the end of the day, we were able to get onto the podium on his first tactical games event, my second one, and it kind of springboarded into I want to keep doing that because I love the community and I love the people. Or I love the people and I love the sport. Um, Shot the Duskin match for the first time, and we did have we kind of mentioned we had that episode, and that is something that is extremely, that that's that's a match that is heartfelt, um and it it brings out a lot of emotions in people, but it also brings a lot of other good characteristics with it. Being able to shoot around a bunch of guys of America's best warriors out there, that's really cool, and being able to have an effect on them.
Yeah, you brought it up. I did some one of the episodes I think I get a lot of positive feedback on was your retirement episode.
Mm.
And that's something that I put a lot of time and energy into. It's not just, it's cool to get on here and talk about shooting with people most of the time. But that I saw as an opportunity to like pick the brain of somebody who'd been in 20 years and had been through a lot of experiences and changed significantly as a person throughout those 20 years. And I think it resonated a lot with like the NCOs that I've talked to that have listened to it, because it's very seldom that you get a heartfelt and honest portrayal of somebody's and somebody that's as articulate and reflective as Matt is. Like it's how often do you get to hear that perspective?
No, I appreciate that. It was nerve-wracking because we recorded that episode on the day of my retirement.
Yeah, you had dude,
So
you had so much going on that day.
yeah,
So
so like I couldn't sleep the night before because it's like, oh shit, this is actually happening. Going into the event, into the ceremony, then immediately as the ceremony's over, we're going over to Go King's house and sitting down, setting all the equipment up, and it's
yeah,
just going through my head of everything I want to say. Um, and it was really cool to exchange those experiences with Go King in the background, and then you and Chris there.
yeah,
Arguably two of my closest friends, that I talk to on a regular basis. I talk to a lot of people all the time, but I would say you and Chris are two people I talk to regularly. And Chris, he had just gotten out of the Marine Corps himself.
yeah, yeah. No, it was really special. I'm glad we got a chance to sit down and do that.
Yeah, and we were drinking
Yes,
bourbon this time
yes.
it's out of my plastic cup.
When in hotels, you do you do what you can.
Yes. Um,
Um, yeah,
how would how would you say you've grown as a shooter though? I've kind of given my reflections this year. Like I said, it
yeah.
hasn't changed a whole lot for me.
Um, I start the year coming back from a deficit. I mean, I was still injured. The first match of the year was Florida State. I went and lit my way through 10 courses. I watched Cardenas and Nelson and Raider and Rhodes just like tear up that match. So for me, it was really just getting back to where I was. And it was trying to medal again at East and get back to championships, which I did, I got healthy in time for East. I ended up taking second right behind Doley, who's an awesome shooter, and going to championships, got another bronze there, and ultimately ended up going distinguished this year, which I think it's a noteworthy accomplishment. Um, Shot the summer season with the pistol team. Learned a lot about myself. I think just shooting in a team format. Like we traveled all over the place, really great. I had some pretty good matches, but then I also like kind of flamed out and burned out around nationals time frame. Um,
I
and
will
then
say,
since
I will say one thing that's really stuck out with me is, you kind of found yourself as a person, as a student, as a husband, and as a competitor. And, prior to this year, you really hadn't had to really balance that. Before it was, You
Yeah.
know, you were living on your own. Your wife was going to school still, and your only balance was company command duties and shooting duties. And then you came into, middle of the year with all these different dynamics and figuring out how to manage that. And I think you've done a pretty good job of managing that.
Yeah, I appreciate you that you see it that way, Matt. The way I see it is everything just compounds and overwhelms me, and then eventually like get back off the ground and just keep moving. But no, it definitely. I mean, if you go back and listen to like the championships episode, it was around the time that I was looking for a house, and just that was like crashing with championships. I was still doing command staff. I was still dealing with stuff back in Lejeune, and then moving in together with Annalisa for our first time in 3 years, shooting the summer season, adopting the dog that's sleeping behind me. Like it was a lot of things all at once. So all it turned out well in the end. But I do think you find out a lot about yourselves when you are overwhelmed, balancing too many things, and then that's kind of how you learn to progress more intelligently, I would say.
One of the biggest things I've started, and we've kind of done it with this is checklists. We started like talking and reaching out to so many people. It's like I'm having a hard time remembering everything. So I was like, hey, let's go on, on our iPhones and create a notes tab that we both share. And, I reached out to this person. This is when we're going to do it. And like you and I like balance this podcast to where it fits our schedule and the other person's schedule because most podcasts that are doing it individually and or that does have guests or doesn't even have guests, it's not that much of a balancing act. But with
Yeah,
you and I, it's like we're constantly having to go back and forth saying, hey, does this time work for you or does this work for you? And it's like also, I have a very long drive to and from work, so it's like making sure I get everything done at work in time to get back so to where we can record.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of balance, I think you struck quite a bit. I mean, you managed to transition outside the Marine Corps, found a job, and then started to get back into the competitive scene all around the same time. You're starting to shoot three gun again. I know you're traveling. You're going to be training for future tactical games. So, and that's the name of the game. We've touched upon it in previous episodes. If you care about this lifestyle, then you want to dedicate time to it. You want to go and you want to perform, but you have all these other things in your life that you still need to pay attention to. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what the both of us are dealing with.
Yeah. But, like you said, it's something we're passionate about, something we love, and something we don't want to give up, you
No,
know.
no.
Um and not just as shooters, but like still communicating with the team. I'd say a year in a review of the team, real quick is since I've kind of left and even whenever I was handing the reins over, they have developed so much more once certain aspects of the team changed um, and new leadership took over. Uh, they were able to get on a track where it's putting them at the forefront of everything that the Marine Corps needs. They're starting to compete in more night matches. They have implemented night matches into the competition shooting schedule. The Go King's going to be hosting PCSL three gun matches at Quantico Shooting Club. It's really exciting to see the direction that they're taking and the passion that they're taking. To better help the Fleet Marine Force as we you know essentially could potentially go fight with near peer adversaries.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest things for me that have occurred with the team was the concerted step to like away from bullseye.
Hmm.
Like that is no longer something that they are competing in. They are moving towards PRS, um, like PRS action, USPSA exclusively, which is great. And then for I mean, they've gone through. There was some turbulence this year, but I think things are looking up based on who we think might be taking over the team. I'm excited for those individuals, new personalities, new blood's always good, something the Marine Corps is good about. And then also excited in terms of like when new folks come in, what I'm enjoying about being co-host on this podcast is the ability to like start a relationship as at for you, Matt, as someone who was on the team. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it was something like basically team adjacent, but also both of us are on this podcast to establish a new relationship with them. That's what we did with John Bodziak. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to have a lot of longevity, and like we're going to continue to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of the reasons that you created this in the first place was to give members of the team an outlet, a forum to more or less speak their thoughts and have conversations about the things they're passionate about. And with
And then
new
to
blood,
give an inside look from the or
yeah,
get people from the outside to get that inside look of the team.
and it
That's exactly
works.
what. Yeah.
And it works back when you guys had me put in a package to potentially be like one of the team OICs. I listen to this podcast every week because I was like, I want to know what it's like on the inside. And I didn't have anyone on the inside at the time. Because Cardenas still hadn't moved up yet. So yeah, I mean, we'll continue to do that for you all. Um, and then like the folks on the team, I think they enjoy being on this show as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I love that was a really fun episode with John Bodziak. And like anytime I do have time to talk to him, I love that guy. Like energetic, passionate, direct, and you know, has a vision. He knows where he wants to get, and he knows how to balance that with his responsibility of where he wants to get the team. Um, and it's really cool to hear that. And then also, yeah, what's it called? He's probably the sexiest dude on the team, and how he got
Yes.
hit on by Kirsten Dunst while at USPSA Nationals.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not gonna appreciate me saying that.
He's never gonna live that down.
Oh
Uh,
no.
which all we're saying, John, is that the next time you go to a zoo, maybe spend some time with the cougars. Okay. I hope he hears this.
I'm gonna message him.
Oh man, that's amazing.
He's gonna kill us.
Yeah, he's too nice.
Fuck him. Yeah.
But yeah, upcoming match schedule, and there's a little bit of overlap between our match schedules. My title is 3 GIQ, but Matt does a lot more three gun, and I'm gonna dabble in some three gun, but mostly USPSA and tactical games. But Matt, we'll start with you. What major matches in 2023 are you looking forward to?
All right. So I'm still going to be kind of staying here closer to the East Coast for the time being. Just, new career, new dynamics, not trying to go too far. Waiting for my retirement to kick in, considering DFAS fucked that one up, and I'm not going to get that. I'll get back pay, but it's not going to kick in until February. And then who the
Mm,
fuck knows when my VA disability is going to kick in?
mm.
They're slower than, snails moving. I used to say a different phrase would be inappropriate, so I'm not going to say that. Uh, but I'm going to be doing Battle for the South. Uh, that will be the first major match of my season. I intend on, and that'll be April 1st and 2nd. Then at the end of April is the Tactical Games team match. I have ideas of who my partner is going to be, but I'm not ready to really talk about that just yet. That's one I'm really looking forward to. Last year and the year prior to that, it was at Pantera, but now they are moving it down to the Sawmill Training Complex down in South Carolina. So a little bit further than what I want to travel, but it's okay because it's such a good match, and those guys are really good and passionate about what they put on, and the team match just brings a different dynamic. And we talk about the tactical games, and what I love about it is it's functional fitness, and I love CrossFit and all that kind of stuff, but it's all of that with marksmanship. And I think the tactical games did a really good job in applying the two. There are other different type of venues, but I have two different crowds and scenes I like to compete around, and that just happens to be one of them. So
Mhm.
after that one, I intend on going to the Duskin match, which is in the beginning of June, and then 3-man 3 gun up in Topton, Pennsylvania. After that one, I would say it'll be a bit of a break as far as major matches are concerned, but the next one will be more than likely going to GTI down in South Carolina for the Tactical Games regional event. Um, and quite honestly, and I'll say it, like my goal, like I'll be 40 then. I turned 40 in February. So I'll be competing in Masters division. Uh, but the goal is honestly to, most people say podium. No, I want to come in first place at that event. I want to push myself and my body, as broken as it is, that hard to where I can come. I can get first place. I have the shooting ability. It's just getting my cardio ability up to that level. After the tactical games, the last match I intend on doing as of right now is going to be the Fall Brawl, the Zoo City Armory Fall Brawl. And like I said, I'm kind of staying between Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, but that's what I plan on doing. And then I'm gonna hit some of the local matches up in Pennsylvania if I can, and I know I'm gonna be hitting local matches up at Quantico Shooting Club and down at Zoo City Armory.
Nice. Yeah, sounds like a busy year. For me, and like I said, there's some overlap. January, February gonna be relatively light. My first major event is gonna be Tactical Games in Texas, so that's a little bit north of Austin. It's close to where my dad lives, so I'm just knocking those out at the same time. I'm gonna visit my dad as well. I did qualify at NCR for championships, so I will be shooting championships this year with the at Quantico. So that's going to be the end of March. That's about a week long. In April, I have the RPGI Night Championship, so it's going to be a day and night match. So they're going to have you shoot all the stages at daytime, come back under your nods, shoot the same stages. So if you are local to the Quantico area, that's in Shadowhawk. Like that's a good match. You can shoot white light too. You don't necessarily need nods. But a lot of the members of the team are going to be there as well. That next week, Sam Nelson and I are going to travel to Odessa to participate in Dragons Cup. Dragons Cup is a level 3 match. JJ's heavily involved. It's a very well run match. It's kind of become the standard for a lot of things. So we're pretty selective about where we try. If we're going to travel out of state for a match, it's going to be a good one. And so we're excited for Dragons Cup. It sold out in like 10 minutes too.
Oh shit.
So yeah, pretty insane. After that, looking at the pistol teams schedule, I got Delmarva at the end of April. Area 6 in North Carolina. That's going to be near Charlotte. That's in May. Mid-Atlantic near the end of May. And then I want to go shoot Duskin with you as well, Matt. So I have that already on the calendar. After Duskin, I'm probably going to take a bit of a break, take a vacation with the wife. And then I'll come back for Area 1, which is out in Montana. That's in July.
Oh, that'll be a good time.
Yeah, haven't been to Montana. So yeah, excited about that. After that, Battle for the North Coast. That's going to be in Ohio. And then finish it up with Open Nationals, which is back at Talladega. Don't have the rest of the year built out, but those are the wave tops.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
I think that kind of covers everything that we're planning on doing. So, this is going to be coming out right before the new year. So to everybody, we wish you a happy new year. Make your resolutions and all that bullshit. Keep them, whatever. I think it's just a sad way to say stay in shape and all that.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Enjoy your New Year's, but just thank you for listening. Like your support means a lot to the both of us. That you would whether you're listening or whether you're watching, and your feedback's important to us as well. We've gotten a lot of meaningful and helpful feedback this year, so we're gonna keep at it. We're gonna keep putting out episodes every single week. Just let us know if there's anything else that you'd like to see from us.
Other than that, we hope you enjoyed. Let us know how we're doing, and we will talk to you next time.